Are you looking for a great microphone to use during your live streams? Are you looking for a good microphone that maybe you can use for some narration work? Or better yet, do you want the best podcasting mic you can get for under $100 that if you have an iPhone or if you have an iPad or computer such as a laptop or a desktop, then you can get into podcasting for less than $100? Look no further than the Fifine K690 microphone. Let's go. Hey folks, welcome back to Blessed by G Beats. I'm the G, and today we're going to be taking a quick look, overview, and maybe somewhat of a review of the Fifine K690 microphone. This is a great value right now, especially when we're talking about the popularity of podcasts. And that's really where I'm going to focus my overview and review of this microphone today. If in 2021, if you got something to say, something that can help people, it is a great idea and a great time to start a podcast. I'm actually getting ready to start a couple of podcasts on this. I'm going to do a podcast on this channel and a couple of other channels that I'm doing. But I have all kinds of equipment when it comes to podcasts. I've already invested in a Rodecaster Pro, SM7B, a Rode mic. I can't remember which one it is, but it's the $99 one that's very, very popular. I've invested a lot into what I'm going to start doing, but there's a drawback to all of that. Sometimes you just want to get up and going with the podcast, and you don't want to hook up all of that stuff. You don't want to set it all up because unless you have a place to where you can just leave everything set up all the time, setting up all of that stuff can really be a hassle. So it really dawned on me that podcasting is not necessarily all about the equipment, but it is about what you have to say. And if you're somebody who wants to just get started in podcasting, or you want something that's more portable, something that's inexpensive, that's going to have a great sound, it really dawned on me just how valuable the Fifine K690 is and exactly what it does. This microphone is very powerful in the sense that with it, you don't need an audio interface necessarily, as long as you have a USB input on your laptop, on your computer, or if you can get a USB input on an iPad or a pad or an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever you have, you can start a podcast, especially when you start looking at podcast software like Anchor, podcast software like Podbean, which will let you do that right from the iPhone or a phone or from a pad. Or if you have free software such as Audacity, or if you want to go out and spend some of the most inexpensive software that's very, very powerful, maybe you want to go out and get Reaper, or for me, I have Logic Pro 10. Pretty much, once you get this microphone, it is very easy to get up and going and start your podcast. So today, this is really where I'm going to focus this overview and review on the podcasting capabilities of this Fifine K690 microphone. So I'm not going to so much get into all of the specs. I'll put some of those specs up on the screen as we go. But what I really want to focus on is the practical use of the Fifine K690 microphone. So before we get started, let's do that unboxing. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. So for $99, you're getting a very good value in this microphone. I want you to check this out. As it pertains to the build quality, it is all metal with the exception of the plastic buttons on the front and, of course, the plastic buttons on the back. And, of course, when you look at the knobs, these are plastic. But other than that, it is an all metal construction. It weighs, like I said, 1 pound, 11 ounces. That's a really good weight. It's not too heavy. I like that, but it's heavy enough to where it's not going to be knocked all over the place, you know, if you happen to bump it or something like that. And the cool thing is, when you look at the build quality of it, as you've probably seen in the unboxing, I love the fact that it has these rubber feet under the bottom that's going to stop a lot of the micro jitters and things like that if you were to bump the desk. And like I said, the cool thing is, when you look at the build quality, one of the things that I like about this microphone is you can basically unscrew these screws on the side here. I wanted to show you this as far as the build quality goes because this is very important. You can take this off, right? So the cool thing is, once again, when you look at the build quality, they really thought it through as it pertains to this stand, because not only does it have the rubber feet on the bottom, but these are rubber, so that whenever you turn or put this on, you don't have to worry about the metal, you don't have to worry about any scratches, you don't have to worry about any vibrations in case you may adjust it while you're using it. Because of this rubber, it makes everything extremely soft. It makes everything extremely vibration resistant. So the build quality of this thing for 99 bucks, man, it is absolutely awesome. So next, let's get into the functionality. As we get into the functionality of this microphone, I really want to show you just how capable this microphone is, especially for under $100. Right now, I'm using my Rode microphone setup, but don't worry, that's going to be a part of the functionality. We're going to hook this microphone up, and you're going to hear exactly how it sounds. So the first thing I want you to look at is this button here. This is the button that lets you know whether it's live or muted. And I'll show you in a moment that when you press the button, it lights up green when it's live and it's red when it's muted. Next, you have the headphone volume button, which I absolutely love this because this is why I say this kind of eliminates the need for an audio interface if you're doing a podcast or you got it set up as a live stream setup, or even as you're using it as narration on a phone or an iPad, because you have, of course, you have the microphone adjustment here. And then as you look at the bottom, the cool thing is you have the USB input, you have a 1/4 inch so that you can mount it. That's part of the functionality, and I'm gonna show you that in just a second. And of course you have the headphone jack. And then, of course, if you turn it on the back side, which I really like, you have the gain, the mic gain, and the polar patterns, which it does 4 polar patterns that we're going to look at in just a moment. But I like the fact that the polar patterns and the gain is actually on the back side of the microphone, because once you get those 2 things set up, you're probably not going to want to adjust them, or especially make a mistake and try to turn one of those and just mess up everything as it pertains to your audio. So the 2 most important things to me are actually on the front. You set your gain Of course, like I said, you set your gain in the polar pattern on the back. And then the cool thing is you can mute or go live, or you can adjust your headphone setup. But next, we're going to take a quick break, or I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in just a second. But I'm going to show you now the functionality of this thing, and then we're going to hook it up, and we're going to really see what it does. Let's go. So now we're going to look at one important piece of the puzzle to me as it applies to functionality. I've hooked up my boom arm here. I'm going to put a link in the description to this boom arm. This is the dopest boom arm to me you can get on Amazon, and the price is fantastic. But the cool thing is about the Fifine K690 is that you can hook it up to a boom arm, and they actually included a real dope piece of tech, or I don't know if tech, but a dope piece of hardware that allows you to basically hook this microphone up to a boom arm or connect it to a boom arm, and you can really get that podcast experience. Or even if you're live streaming, you can definitely hook this up to where it's out of the way and it's not on the desktop. So let's do that real quick. So you saw this piece in the unboxing, but this is the piece that allows you to be able to connect this up to hook your microphone up to a boom arm. Okay, and so here's how we got it set up. Got it set up right in front of us. And you don't have to have this real close unless you're going for the proximity effect. I went and got me a pair of headphones. Of course, as you know, it comes with its own USB connector. And so I want to take the time out. I'm going to hook this up a couple of different ways. Just give me a second. So we're going to take the time out to hook this up in the Logic Pro 10. It's a really good way to record your podcast if you have any kind of DAW, simply because you get all of the benefits of all of the effects that you can get inside of the DAW to make the audio sound that much better. But of course, what we're going to do, we're not going to use any kind of processing on this. We're going to record this straight out of the microphone. So we're going to give Logic Pro 10, a moment to load up, and we'll be right back. Check. So what you're hearing right now is the Fifine K690 microphone going through Logic Pro 10. And as you can see, you don't really have to have this very close, unless you want that proximity effect. But you got to make sure you adjust your gain and everything like that. You can adjust your audio in your headphones. Well, of course, me recording this on my own, I don't necessarily need it to monitor myself. But it works extremely well, man. I really like this. Like I said, you can really do a dope podcast if you wanted to, just like this. And do a dope podcast just like this. So while we have this hooked up to Logic Pro 10, I would also like to take time out to really deal with some of the polar patterns. Okay, so the cool thing is it has switchable polar patterns. It has stereo, omnidirectional, cardioid, and bidirectional. And I'm going to attempt to let you hear some of this as far as how it sounds. Okay, so we have this hooked up to Logic Pro 10. I'm going to use my DAW to demonstrate these different polar patterns. So the first polar pattern that we have here, the first polar pattern that we're going to deal with is the stereo polar pattern, which I think is very, very cool. So we can just kind of I think that's pretty cool. The next one we're going to look at is the omnidirectional. Let me switch that. Now the omnidirectional setting is supposed to allow you to get sound all the way around the microphone. So basically, if you were doing a podcast and there were 4 people doing the podcast, you could have a person at each corner, and you would still be able to hear everyone loud and clear. So that would be the omnidirectional. And then, of course, you have the cardioid pattern, which that it's almost, some people say it's a heart or a peach. And basically what that does is it resists sound behind it, but you can kind of catch the sound around here. So let's switch that. And I believe this is the pattern that most people are going to set this to and leave, because it's catching most of the front audio and resisting the back, right? So maybe if there was a little bit of noise behind, and I know this is pretty loud, but I'm pretty sure it's not as loud as it is at the front. So this is the cardioid pattern that most people are going to use. And then finally, we're going to do the bidirectional. Now, the bidirectional is really, really cool because, once again, if you're doing a podcast and there's only two people, well, someone can be on this side and you can be on this side, and it'll block off these sounds on the side to where you can do a podcast with two people, and it's almost like you have two microphones. Right? So you can hear these, I'm pretty sure, equally loud. But then kind of if you go over to the side, it's supposed to kind of block. It's supposed to block these types of sounds out. But we switched it back to the cardioid pattern. I'm sorry if it didn't quite sound right when I first started my audio test, because it was doing left and right, but I'm pretty sure it probably picked up the audio nevertheless. But the cardioid pattern is probably the one that most people are going to use most of the time. So as I said from the beginning, man, this is a very, very dope microphone for under $100. If you want to get into streaming, you want to get into podcasting, I mean, you can get in very, very cheap, because most people already have many of these tools that we have already, most people already have these tools that we've talked about. So I'm going to show you one more thing before we conclude this video, because I want to show you just how powerful it is from the standpoint of being able to do a podcast on your phone or your iPad. So as you can see, we've been recording this podcast we've been recording this microphone the whole time on Logic Pro 10. But next, we're going to switch over to the iPad and then the iPhone. Let's go. Okay, so we got Cubases set up real quick on the iPhone 10. So let's see how this works. Hit record. And so now we have this recording on the iPhone 10. Now, the cool thing is, like I said, you could do a podcast right here on your phone if you got Cubases. If you got GarageBand, you could do it straight to Podbean. I'm pretty sure you could do it straight to Anchor. But the cool thing is, if you're a musician, you could actually use this to record your you could use this to record vocals for a song. You know, if you just want some scratch vocals to hear how you're going to sound on the song, because today, of course, we know how powerful iPhones and iPads are, and you just want to kind of get your scratch vocals going because you're working portable, well, here you go. So, like I said, man, this is really, really, really a dope microphone. So let's kind of conclude right here. Who is this microphone for, you know? Or the pros and the cons. And I guess basically the same thing, the pros and who is this microphone for. The cons, the only thing I see is that if you're looking for a microphone that you're going to be able to hook into an audio interface or a Zoom H6 or something to that effect, you're not going to be able to do that with this. And that's not necessarily a con, but at the same time, I know sometimes someone may want a mic that's double, you know, or a mic that they can hook into a system such as that. That's not what this microphone is. So as it pertains to the cons for me, I don't really see any cons, because I absolutely love this microphone. I mean, Fifine sent it to me for free as a review, but they didn't tell me what to say or tell me I had to say anything. But I really like this microphone, and I'm going to really be using it, especially if I'm somewhere where I don't want to hook up all of my equipment. I just want to do something simple, and it's just me and an iPad or me and an iPhone. I'm definitely going to be using this for podcasting. But as it pertains to the pros, there are just so many pros. I mean, to me, it's the perfect size. I don't know, I've seen people comparing it to the Blue Yeti. I don't have a Blue Yeti, but I can tell you this. This is smaller than a Blue Yeti. The size is absolutely perfect. I love the way the controls operate. I absolutely love how they included this connector to where you can hook it up to a boom arm on a 1/4 inch. Absolutely love that. Thank you for that, Fifine. Comes with a very high quality USB cable. It basically comes with everything in the box. There's some other pieces that you saw in the unboxing, but it comes with everything in the box to definitely get you started with a podcast or game streaming or whatever. Bring your own headphones, computer, iPad, or phone, and you're ready to go. So I really do think this is for the gamer. I think it's for someone who wants to do narrative work. People are doing Zoom recordings right now. Zoom meetings and Zoom classes are really big. And as you can see, you don't have to be up on this to get really, really good sound. Or like I said, you're somebody who's going to do podcasts, which I really think this is what this is suited for. If you're looking to get into all of those things at a very inexpensive price to eliminate the audio interface and all of that stuff, this is the best microphone you can get for under $100. So I'm going to put a link in the description to where you can get this microphone. I will definitely snap it up. From what my understanding is, there have been all kinds of discounts and sales going on it, so you're definitely going to be able to get it below $100. And it's for me. As I said before, I'm not going to get paid for it, but I will put an affiliate link, and if you click it and buy it under that link, it will definitely help out the channel and will help me to bring more and more videos such as this and my other videos. It helped me bring more videos to you in 2021. So as for me, that's all I have to say. That's my time. Like I said, if you're looking for a great microphone up under $100, go out and get the Fifine K690 microphone. So happy New Year, and I'll be back once again real quick with some more videos in 2021. We're going to turn it up and really, really start producing some great products, some great content on this channel going into 2021. So as I always say, keep grinding, keep inspiring, and until the next video, peace.